All right, I think we're up and ready. Almost it's 6 p.m. 1 o'clock. Welcome to another Omchain Talks. Today we'll have an awesome guest from the Biconomy exchange. If you don't mind, I will be inviting him to be the speaker right now. All right. The invites have been sent. Welcome everyone again. Um, I think it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks since we, had the last Chain Talks. So today we have an awesome topic. We have an awesome guest, Thales Castro from the Biconomy Exchange. He's the CMO of the Latin American region for the Biconomy Exchange. Thales, if you can hear me, you can, turn on your mic and say hi to the listeners. Welcome.
Hey Osman, thank you everyone. How is everyone doing today? Can you hear me nice and great?
Yeah, I think I can hear you perfectly fine. No problem with the voice. And I think that anyone else can also hear you perfectly fine. If there are any problems, please let us know in the comments. So thanks a lot again for joining to today's on-chain talks. I am really excited about learning more about the tips and tricks of the marketing in the cryptocurrency exchanges. Before we start, I would like to say a few words and then I'll ask a few questions to you and then carry on with the conversation. Usually people talk about marketing in Web3, right? People talk about how you can market your project, how you can have airdrops, AMA sessions, and all sorts of different stuff. But actually, cryptocurrency exchanges are one of the most fundamental things in the crypto ecosystem because even though you might have the best project out there, you might have the best team or the best technology out there. Usually, those projects are supported with tokens, and if you don't have any way of buying or selling tokens, then you won't be able to reach a larger audience. So, cryptocurrency exchanges, especially centralized exchanges, here play a key role. But people often don't talk about the marketing strategies or how you can build a community in the centralized exchange. So, from your point of view, could you tell us how do I say, where do you start when you first start as a cryptocurrency exchange on building a local community? For example, you're responsible from the Latin American region. Like, how do you approach the problem? Do you first identify your potential users and then try to come up with a strategy, or is there something like that works everywhere in the world? We just do those things, do some of that, and then it works itself out. Or are there any special tips and tricks? So, would you tell us more about that aspect of the marketing in centralized exchanges?
Sure. Once again, thank you for having me here today. And I have been thinking about a nice speech, a nice journey to venture with our audience today. And this is a great question, which is part of this journey. But let me get started right through the question and answer that it usually depends. It depends on where you are willing to build the community, and where you are locating, where you are penetrating this exchange into the local community, because it has to start somewhere. I hear some people saying, "Oh no, but I have my exchange is global, is international." Okay, beautiful, yes, awesome, but it started somewhere. The people, the project from it came from somewhere originally, right? And unless it's a collab or something like this, which is not that common nowadays. But from the point of view of projects, the exchanges, centralized exchanges, are the crib. They are the very start of the crypto community in a certain region. So yes, I'm responsible currently for the expansion of Biconomy inside the Latin America is the right region, and we are starting our activities in Brazil. So there is a whole set of rules, of ways to get an exchange here inside of Brazil, which is completely different from other countries like I don't know, Japan, or I would say China, but of course it's not currently legal over there. Maybe it changes sometime, but it's different because it's a different community. The users have different habits. Back in 2019, 2020, and 21st, Some exchanges who that used to operate with large amounts of Chinese users, for instance, I have supervised some of these exchanges, and most of those users, they, for instance, enjoy OTC. So they enjoy directly engaging with other consumers instead of the usual trading through the platform, right? So you have to adapt your work with the local community with what they are searching, what they're looking for, what they're used to. So yes, Web3 has been helping a lot in cases of which we can connect more with more communities, we can transact faster, we can transact also in simpler ways, which increases the overall user experience. It softens, it makes the whole process much easier depending on the crypto project and what they're offering as Web3 capabilities. And I see that these exchanges, as the crib of these local communities, they are also responsible for bringing new features, bringing new solutions, and maybe even so, if possible, co-developing these new features with the local communities. So everyone gets to participate and gets to be part of the whole structure of the whole machine. Well, machines maybe is not the best term, but you do understand that the crypto community, generally speaking, is one big community, right?
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting that you mentioned that in the Asian region people wish to speak with the people, because from my experiences, as I was also consulting a few exchanges when they were first launching in Turkey. For Turkish people, because I am also from Turkey, the most important thing is that when users make a deposit or withdrawal, that the process is fast, and it's happening under maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes tops. Because when I'm looking at it from a Turkish perspective, I can say that the economical situation in the country is not doing so well over the maybe last few years. But from our history as well, we have been battling with inflation and everything and so on. So we have one of the best banking systems in the world. Like right now, I can send any amount of money to anyone in Turkey, and it would just arrive in their bank account within 2 to 3 minutes. And we start getting worried when there is like 10 minutes, 15 minutes delay, and our deposit or withdrawal haven't been processed. So I can kind of relate, but it's also interesting that reason why you are going to a centralized exchange, as I was always think that there is an order book, and then you can set your buy orders, you can set sell orders, you can do market buy, market sell. But it's really strange that in the Asian region, people would like to, talk with the people on the other end. Perhaps they're looking for some sort of confirmation. I don't know. I just wanted to add these little bits when you were talking. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, not at all. And please do once you have something to add, and that's precisely the issue. Yes. Well, so if you don't mind, I would like to get started on this journey to with our audience about the marketing process. And but please feel free to interrupt me at any
Yeah,
time. And
just one thing
mhm.
before you start. I just directly jumped to the topic when we first started the talks, because I was really curious about it. Before you start the journey, is it possible for you to tell us more about yourself and your overall experience in the crypto ecosystem, or like are you coming from a crypto background, or do you have traditional marketing experience and then switch to crypto? Like, how did that happen? Could you tell us more about yourself and your experience, if you don't?
Absolutely, how rude of me.
No, no, no.
Sorry.
It's
So
actually like
yes,
I was like, dude, I want to know the answer to that question, because people always telling us, because we own the project. They're like, you have to do the marketing, you have to do the global marketing, and I'm like, look, like something that works in Turkey might not be working in the western or eastern regions. So we have marketing campaigns targeted to western people. We have marketing campaigns targeted to eastern, and you have to understand that there are different dynamics. Usually how people go in Turkey is that you collaborate with an influencer, and then that influencer starts posting about your project, and then more people learn about your project, and then you attract more users to your protocol. Whereas on different conditions, different markets, it could be totally opposite. Working with an influencer might be something, might be a red flag for the people, and then maybe they would think. like, hey, this project is collaborating with influencers, so that they don't have anything to back up the project. They don't advertise the product, rather just collaborating with influencers. So that's why I was like, are there any different strategies in crypto marketing, especially for centralized exchange? So it's really good that you mentioned that every market, every region has their own strategy, and you have to come up with your own strategy for those regions. Sorry.
Not at all. So, cutting to the chase, yes, the actual strategies are very similar, but the way that you use to approach the audience and the ordering, the sequencing that you are building will differ from country to country. All right. So, folks, thank you for this time. And let me introduce myself a little bit. My name is Taris Castro, and I'm currently the CMO in Latin America for Biconomy Exchange. I am currently living and I was born in Brazil. So, I'm introducing Biconomy to my native country, which gives me great pleasure to offer such nice features as well with the Omchain project together with us. And I have started this collaboration I mean, not the collaboration. I have joined the crypto world. I mean, the collaboration with the crypto community, so to say, in early 2017. It was even before the mid-year's alt season. And later on that year, that same year, Bitcoin first boomed all the way up $17,000. In some countries, even crossed the $20,000 mark. I have heard so and have seen in a few exchanges. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Korean exchanges had a bubble inside of the bubble going on, hitting past $22,000 all the way back in 2017, December. So back in the day, I was consuming as much crypto content as possible. I was trying to learn as fast as I could because when I had my first contact with crypto, in a single day of research, that a friend of mine came to me saying, Thales, have you heard about Bitcoin? And I was like, no, I haven't. But you know what? I have nothing to do today. Let me take a look at a few articles, and I never looked back.
I mean, this is this is this is
uh,
kind of like someone comes to you and be like, "Hey, you heard about Bitcoin?" And you're like, "I haven't, but I'm gonna learn about it right now." It's like it's not like you haven't said, "Hey, I mean, like, what the f is Bitcoin, right?" Or what's that thing? Or hey, it's a scam, and then you didn't change your mind. You were like, "I don't know about it, but I'm gonna find out about it." And yeah, that's really nice way to get into crypto.
So that's how I got started. And from the very first day that I did that research, I could already tell that something big was already in motion, and I didn't want to miss it. I didn't want to fall behind. So it has been pure joy and fun ever since. Well, a few hacks and losses here and there, but that's life, right? Sometimes you're not always on top, but we need to keep evolving and moving forward. And my background, my actual academic background, is in IT. So I started with the whole fundamental analysis of the network, how blockchain works, and it was so mind blowing to me that things like that weren't being taught at universities. And I was currently graduating when I heard about Bitcoin. And I was so frustrated that I was sure I wanted to work with cryptocurrency, but no project, no course on my college was aborting this, was having courses and tests about it. So I graduated as soon as possible to get started on cryptocurrency, and I never looked back.
That's really great because I remember the first few years back when I was in college. I was studying electrical engineering, um, and I was like, you know, I was telling and asking specifically to the math teachers and professors we had applied mathematics institute in the college, and I was like, where can I learn more about the consensus algorithms, their cryptographic proofs, and all those hashing stuff, and how to run a distributed system, and even to an extent for analyzing signal analysis. And then I didn't find any answers either because the topic was not new, considering that crypto was like, Bitcoin was first invented in 2008, 2009. I was a college student in 2014, 2015. So it was not a new technology, but, the probably the tutors or how do I say the academic literature was not updated. So, but recently, especially in Turkey and in Western countries, I don't have any information about the east of the world. I'm seeing that there's new courses being offered, new topics being added to the curriculum. So it's really glad that right now there's crypto adoption in the world, especially in terms of academic research and so on.
Absolutely. Well, here in Brazil, the first actual notice, the first actual advertisement and gossip about cryptocurrency, especially through Bitcoin, started by the end of 2017. Somewhere around September, October of 2017 was when the media came, killing it because calling it was a bubble. Well, back then, yes, it was a bubble. It very quickly escalated into a bubble, but some people, most people, sorry, had the misunderstanding that bubble is usually a moment, not the whole project, not the years of cryptocurrency growing and developing. Just because it didn't went almost all the way back to its original price when it was launched, which was zero because it came from nothing basically, it doesn't mean it's a bubble up to this day, right? So there was a lot of media, bad media, going onwards with it. But then new courses started to kick in, content, blockchain, etc., and the fundamentals and the educational style approach became much more relevant, as well as the beginnings of Lightning Network development, which was very amusing. So, folks, to get started today in this marketing journey, I would like to get started this topic through a very simple question, which is what's the purpose of marketing? And this question could lead you on to personal and more philosophical approaches the deeper you dive into this concept. But at this very moment, my intent is merely explore its surface. So back to the question, what is the purpose of marketing? And to me, it's just a selling a trip, plain and simple. Now, I might have caught some people off guard with this answer, so let me get into it. Okay. Well, for starters, whenever you see an advertisement and you're able to, of course, properly interpret its content, it will usually lead you to something. And this is the trip I was talking about because it's taking you from one place, the present, to another one, the future. And by future, I mean the very next actions that you will take, be it consciously or even involuntary actions like triggered reactions and things your brain simply can't ignore. Like imagine a billboard down the road with a written phrase saying, don't read the next word. But your eyes noticed another word next to it. So you know there's something there. And your brain is wired to do it because we need closure. You have initiated something, it has begun. You still don't know what is nor where it's going, but it is in motion, right? And since you have already started, you might as well finish, right? Unfold its secrets. Now, here's the tricky part, because if you don't, I mean, if you choose to ignore it, then curiosity starts to kick in, unless you have something more important driving our attention. Because, well, today we can get easily sidetracked with the constant spam of information being pushed towards us with short video apps like TikTok, shoving serotonin pills down our throat. Right, Osman? I think you feel the same in these social medias.
I mean, like, but from my personal experiences, I feel like 10 years ago it was much more easy to concentrate on stuff and learn, how do I say, dive deep into some topic. But right now, with the, constant bombard of information as well as innovation, it's really hard to keep track of things, even like specific to crypto as well. You're trying to understand some concept, let's say, zero knowledge proofs and so on, while you're trying to understand that concept, because like it's not just enough for you to understand the concept, then you have to either apply that concept into your work or somehow utilize that information so that it's beneficial to you. While you're trying to do that, you realize that there is something else, and then you just turn your head towards that way, and then you realize that there's a lot more other stuff that is being published every day. And especially with the social media, even with TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, I mean, people are right now seeking for learning things in very short time spans. We can even see and understand that from the social media posts. They're literally showing you some 10-second long video. It's no more than 10 seconds, and trying to show you some concept. Even with the YouTube shorts right now, back then we would watch some videos that were like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But right now YouTube has some short section, and then people just browse there. We constantly look for new information, new things, but we don't have enough attention, enough time to pay attention to things. So it becomes really hard for some deep things to be understood from my point of view. And also, again, I think, I mean, like, I kind of feel like we are less tolerating these days, because we have this mentality of, if something that doesn't work, you can always switch. It's like, if something is wrong with that website, you can go to another website. If something is wrong with some product, you can buy the alternative.
So many options,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and the worst is that it's even reflecting itself to human interaction and human relations. Because if you have a problem with your friend, then you can switch to another friend. We are even losing ties with friends and family members and so on. So I don't know how I feel about it. I am feeling glad that there are a lot of new things being developed, a lot of innovation. But from the other side, from another point of view, it's kind of scary for me.
Yeah, back in the day, if the television wasn't working, I pretty much had no cell phone when I was a child. So I had to come up with other ways, other activities to focus, right? And nowadays there is an infinity of and mobile push notifications. They are tailored, they're made to draw your attention. So whenever I want to go a little bit deeper, whenever I need to focus better into something, I have to put my phone in silent mode and maybe close a few tabs and go full screen into something just so I can I can dive into it. But back to the journey. If we don't, so if you don't have other sources of distraction, and let's say you're just driving down that road, passing by these billboards, or any other scenario you may find yourself in, okay? Depending on the situation, ignoring that closure might lead to anxiety. Like when you have the feeling something bad is about to happen. For instance, don't read the next word, or else what? To whom? When? You are now compelled to find closure, and all of these questions start popping inside your head. Then you start waging pros versus cons for seeking closure versus ignoring everything and going back to your life. But if you miss this opportunity, you might never have the answer. You will have to learn to live with the fact that on that day you chose to ignore a piece of information. And so the mind games are on, and people don't usually like them. People like to be in control of situations instead of wasting energy constantly fighting curiosity and every other bad feeling that might tag along. Nobody wants to feel like they're missing out a life-changing information, like something that could compromise them or their family. So when people seek closure, they're usually looking for peace of mind. And with this, we come into the topic of building expectation. So now that we have our customers' attention, let's talk about this trip, about his customer trip. There are plenty of different ways to advertise something, ways to evoke different feelings and build expectation. As a crypto user, when I read the message, the advertisement, on-chain community, welcome to Biconomy, I might have no idea what's going on. I mean, what's on-chain? A business partner, a crypto project, and what about Biconomy? What kind of platform is it? So the advertisement is trying to Biconomy to get to know Omchain. This is the trip, but the message isn't clear enough. It's lacking improvements. Every market content is prone to misinterpretation. So we must always try our best to deliver a clear information in the correct order to the right audience and at the right time. It's just like building a small story. You can't skip relevant content, scramble acts, or even misplace happenings. It will make no sense. The reader will not understand it, right? With this in mind, we can try a new sentence. On-chain community, welcome to Biconomy Exchange. Adding one single word has clarified so much because now I'm guessing that on-chain is possibly a newly listed crypto project available for trading at Biconomy Exchange. And if I ever want to acquire some of their token, there's the place to go. But this message still didn't build any expectation nor arouse feelings, but informed me of something I might want to do. Well, after all, exchanges are constantly looking for solid projects to list. This way, customers can diversify portfolios or learn about companies who are eager to shape the world, just like Omchain. And if we once again go back to the same sentence and push one little more update, it would look something like On-chain community, welcome to Biconomy Exchange. Trade OMC today to win prizes. Now, this way, I am building expectation. I am expecting to win prizes if I trade OMC at Biconomy Exchange. So every trip leads to something, and there is an infinity of ways to build customer expectation. Customers can go on a happy trip or a sad trip. The outcome of the trip is most likely tied to the expectations that we have built. Meeting or even surpassing the user's expectations will likely result in a happy trip. Meanwhile, failing to meet those expectations will result in an unpleasant and even deceiving experience. So we dive into the next segment, which is about the user experience itself and his journey. So when talking about exchanges, besides meeting expectations, plenty can also go wrong or even right along the trip. Customers may find themselves embraced by the platform, easily guided through their journey until the end of the trip, or it may turn into a total nightmare, like navigating everywhere and failing to reach the goal of the actual trip, the actual purpose of the advertisement. So my job here in Latin America is to penetrate the Brazilian market in order to get started with the Latin community. And Brazil is a great place to get started because the country's economy and government is somewhat healthy and stable, while the local community is very open to innovation and trying out new things. We like to explore trends. I mean, let's get real. If something's trending, there is a reason behind it, right? Like a reason behind its success. So the marketing process here is to establish a foreign company in Brazil can get very tricky. For instance, Brazilians have the tendency to trust other people. And now we're going back all the way to the very first question Osman asked me when I joined the interview. And this is what I was saving to build up the story, because as I was saying, they have the tendency to trust other people. Okay. So if I give you my word, my opinion on something you haven't heard about or you aren't sure about yourself, you would most likely weight towards my opinion. If you trust me, like, right, if I am your friend, if I'm someone that you can look up for. And additionally, Brazilians are warm and welcoming people who enjoy talking, well, most of us. So information spreads fast. And since we are a trust-based community, we hate lies, and we hate to be deceived as well. Okay, so remember the talk we had about expectations? Do not mislead a Brazilian customer. Let's say I am trying to get new users into Biconomy. So this is my first contact with the local community. If I put out an advertisement and then I build expectation, and for whatever reason they have a bad marketing trip, not only am I most likely never going to see that customer again in a long time, but I can guarantee that he or she will talk about this bad experience with family members and other relatives. So instead of earning one new customer, I can end up losing tens or even thousands, hundreds of potential clients, customers, if that person had a wide network and was willing to tell everyone how bad it was. All of this from one single customer. Now you can imagine and escalate this to hundreds and even thousands of potential new clients that this advertisement would reach, right? So things can get out of hand really fast. However, if I do everything right, I will be likely rewarded with a loyal and happy community promoting the Biconomy platform. That's pretty much the thoughts going and sharing my experience with the Brazilian audience, being a crypto trader since early 2017, when no cryptocurrency exchange from the outside was processing payments in the local fiat currency.
Yeah. So what I can understand from your speech is that, I mean, usually the thing that I personally do wrong, and luckily my team is trying to do their best on that part, is that I am more a technical person. So if you gave me a piece of software, if you gave me some, physical product, a book or something, even while watching a movie, I just skip every, to me unimportant part and just, cut to the chase, because I have the how do I say, deep desire to learn and understand more about what the thing is actually, trying to, tell me. This is my, how do I say, personal lifestyle. I don't see any ads. I use a lot of ad blockers. I don't buy anything based on people's recommendations. I just do my, fact check, and then, try to understand pros and cons of a certain product, and then I, make the decision of either purchasing or not purchasing, based on 100% my personal opinions. But I understand that from region to region, of course, it differs. But usually that's not the case with the people, and I can kind of understand that, because when you read a book, it first starts with some opening. You are first introduced to the characters and the story and the setup of the book. Same goes with the movies, as well as advertisements and the language that brands and companies are using. It was really, how do I say, informational and educational for me, that you walked us through the initial processes of marketing, because often I think companies and projects, businesses, what they miss is that they forget to tell a story. They, as you just literally mentioned, like we might be, yeah,
Exactly.
we might be doing the same mistakes too. I'm not going to be not denying this. We tell them something, but just like you said, okay, it's the first time, let's see it from the some person who has not so many experience with crypto or cryptocurrency exchanges. There is an ad, or there is something that comes to my mind. It says like Omchain. Okay, I understand that name means that it has something to do with chains and blockchains and so on. But Biconomy, so what's Biconomy? And then, as you just said, you add the Biconomy exchange. And then, okay, partnership, this is a partnership, but like, what is that partnership is about? Can I trade on Biconomy, or are they going to be, supporting some different things, or they're just going to have, AMA sessions and on-chain talks and so on? So it's really important to first, make people walk through the process, so that once they start reading your advertisement, or once they start, listening or watching your advertisement, they clearly understand what you're trying to tell them. Of course, I mean, I think that there might be some mysteries to the advertisements as well. Like, I don't know, what do you think about
Yes, yes, and you can also go back and forth within these chapters that I have just explored. For instance, who's the target audience? Like as I was just saying, for a regular person browsing through, I don't know, Instagram or TikTok, if I simply read the sentence "on-chain community, welcome to Biconomy," as I said before, I might have no idea. But if I was advertising the same phrase inside on-chain community, of course, they are all crypto users. Of course, they are aware that Biconomy is an exchange. So you always have to think very clearly, who is your audience? I mean, some people try to, some companies or some advertisements try to target, let's say, fishes, right? The opposite of whales. So people who have, like, I don't know, $20, $100 to invest, and something around this. So it's one sort of advertisement for this specific audience, and it's a whole different way to approach whales, to approach big investors, and people like retired people, So you always can go back and forth asking about this story. You have to put yourself into that persona and see if it fits their reality, if that story you're telling is making sense to them, or if you're just talking nonsense, right?
Yeah, yeah, perfectly. I mean, like, usually the brands, especially the ones like the new ones, like, or the young ones like ours, we often, think and assume that our target audience is already, aware of things or knows everything, especially if you have been in some field for a very long time. Like, let's say I'm a programmer for a long time. I might be promoting or, telling some story that might be so fundamental and so basic for me, but that might not be, not so basic or fundamental to any other programmer that's reading, especially if they have started their journey recently. So it's really, I think, like right now, I'm learning from you, by the way. From what I,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah, I think. By the way, it's an awesome talk. I mean, like, I hope everyone who's listening right now are also taking notes, because I am taking notes. But what I can understand is that first you have to understand the target audience that you're doing marketing for, and then you have to build up some expectation and make them understand what you're talking about. If the message is not clear, then there's a risk of people understanding you wrong. Maybe they might be thinking, let's say Biconomy invests $10 million to Omchain, which is something you never would want people to think when it's just about listing and partnership and marketing and so on. So also again, there's dangers of building wrong kind of expectations or wrong hype. I could say, because if you advertise, if you market something in a way that's building up too much expectations, too high expectations, and then once you can't meet with that, just like you have said, like wrong communication or wrong referral, you would have people complaining about it. They would say, hey, I bought this glass because I thought that it would be nice to drink some water from it, but now that I'm drinking water from it, I realize that it's no different than any other glass. So once people start saying that, then you'll have a lot of unsatisfied customers, and with the word of mouth, you will over time lose your customers. So I totally agree with you on that aspect.
And just for giggles, a side story, fun fact actually, I think it was by the end of 2020, when we were still having lockups for COVID-19 around here, and there was a hackathon going on. It was a online hackathon, and very famous here in Brazil. Even NASA backs it up. And they have contacted a few people to speak. So I went there as a speaker, and the main topic had to the speech had to be related with the impacts of COVID-19 in businesses, entrepreneurships, right? So I taught for a few days on the subject. I made a speech, and during this live, I shared, of course, with my family. My wife was following along, and she was very happy with my speech, very proud. My mom as well, everyone. But some people of the family also received this live link, and like I think an uncle of mine who I haven't talked recently, and by recently I mean in a few years or so. He said, "Oh, you spoke very well. I enjoyed your speaking, but because my speech was all about cryptocurrencies, helping entrepreneurs to receive money and to send payments, globally, because e-commerce was really being pushed at that time since local facilities had to close." And so I was pushing raising the crypto flag. So my speech was all based in cryptocurrency. And by the end of this speech, my uncle was saying, "Oh, I loved your speech, but what is that thing that you were talking plenty of times about cryptocurrency? What's cryptocurrency?" And to me, it clicked that I lost. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare my advertisement, my speech well enough, because I lost maybe a big chunk, a big portion of the audience. If I simply said, well, cryptocurrency is like a digital payment, like digital currency, where it can be sent, peer to peer or through exchanges, just one simple sentence would have made people understand everything I was saying. But I missed that opportunity and it was gone. And this is marketing in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know this is one of the, how do I say, things that I hate the most about marketing, because like you spend so much time trying to come up with a campaign or some idea, and then you brainstorm over that idea with your teammates and so on, and then like someone comes and says, for example, hey, I like the new thing that you're building. It's like red, it's shiny, it looks expensive. I really like how it looks, but what's a car? So that moment you realize that they were just looking at the color as well as the metal of the car, or thinking about how expensive such machine would be, but they didn't know
They
anything
missed
about, yeah.
the main content,
Yeah,
right?
exactly, exactly. And then usually, especially if you look at the crypto market, that's actually sadly the case for most of the projects out there. I mean, we have been having a lot of questions and requests from community about some AI project being launched, and I was like, being a technical person, I was like, look, AI is some technological concept that could be integrated to many different technologies or work fields. It's not something that you can attach to blockchain. What you can do is that you can use AI to have a, let's say, block explorer software that is going to, label some wallets so that it's easier for you to track and analyze transactions. This could be a product. You could build some, AI supported, maybe centralized exchange software so that it adjusts the trading algorithm and shows you the trends of the, price movements. You could, integrate the project in, different, fields, but it's not something you can just plug to the blockchain technology. It simply does not work like that. And, but people are like, hey, but I have heard that, XYZ project is doing an AI project on blockchain. And then I am just like, okay, Osman, you have to calm down, take a deep breath. Not everyone, has to know everything about, technological things. And you have to explain them in a way that blockchain works and how AI works, and, how they can be together in some certain situations and how they cannot be together. But often, in crypto, because I think that the audience here most of the time, usually, and maybe especially from the countries where the economical situation is not so good, people are expecting to find the next Bitcoin. But I am telling that, it's been how many years? Maybe 15 years, right? It's been almost 15 years. There is no next Bitcoin. There are alternatives. There are maybe even better technologies than Bitcoin, but there is no such thing as next Bitcoin, and there is never going to be a next thing such as next Bitcoin. But usually, with that mindset, people are just, reading things, understand, just not understanding the text and the communication language. But if it looks shiny, if it looks, if it's promoted in a lot of places, then they, invest in that project. And I think this is one of the biggest reasons why, in the first place, like, you were mentioning about, people thinking that crypto could be a bubble. I think that's the main reason because, let's say that you have no experience with crypto, you don't know anything about its history, you just got into crypto with some project, and then 6 months later you see that this project fails, and then of course with your bias and limited, knowledge, you would assume that it's a bubble.
I would just like to add that it is a fact that plenty of people join the market when the media is everywhere about cryptocurrency, which is usually during the bubble cycles. And when these people join, they most of them usually lose a lot of money and get very angry and call it a bubble, right? But they are joining at the wrong moment, right?
Yeah, it's because, I mean, the first thing, that the biggest mistake that I am also seeing, that, people do not understand, how do I say, people do not read about the project. It's like, often whenever I am, consuming a project, or, doing some business analysis for something, I am asking the project, like, very simple question: what's the problem? What is the problem that you have seen? First, tell me about the problem that you have seen, and then tell me what would be the ideal solution to that problem. Let's say you realize that, people in Brazil are not able to buy cryptocurrencies. If you think that that's a problem, then tell me the best way to solve that problem, and then tell me your solution. So these three questions actually make me understand, because then I go and see, okay, I understand that people not being able to buy cryptocurrencies in Brazil is a problem. This is a problem. I understand that. But then I go look at the stats and try to understand how many people are interested in, cryptocurrency purchases in Brazil. And then if I sense that, okay, it's, let's say roughly 50 million are interested, there's no ways for them to buy. So it's actually a, nice market, and problem is valid. And then I start looking at the, ideal and solution, verify that solution myself, and then look at the solution that's being offered by the project. But sadly, not many people are into, how do I say, business analysis that much. And usually, again, the main problem is that mentality, because the people are just, trying to find the next big thing, next big Bitcoin. And it's much more, how do I say, logical for them to, buy into something that already doubled or tripled in the price than to buy something that's falling. Whereas,
You know that I believe that the mistake behind all of these actions that you're saying about the mentality of looking for the next big is mostly a lack of education. We, at least here in Brazil, universities don't teach you about economics. They don't teach you about inflation and how your money, your fiduciary money, is turning into dust over just a few decades. They don't teach you how things go from one way to another. They don't tell you the truth that the reserve, there is no reserve, no backup in gold for a dollar or anything else in decades. since this past moments, this past decades. So if people had more education about the technology, as I had the privilege to understand that it's not about the investment, it's about a technology that is shaping the world by enabling transactions worldwide 24/7. Well, as you said before, some people, some countries, they want the transactions to happen almost instantly. Well, then for them, pretty much maybe Bitcoin won't work, or maybe they can integrate like Lightning Network or other feature that might solve this issue. But people have to understand that if you are aware, if you comprehend where you are putting your money into, you are much more likely to profit from it. But don't see it mainly as an investment strategy. See it as the very next good thing, best thing that could save your life, your family, your income, right? Because it's crazy to say this, and I say this out loud. Early 2020, pre-COVID, like January, Bitcoin was $4,000. It was even a little bit below $4,000 in a few months later. It peaked, as I said before, $20,000. Most people that were just into crypto for a few weeks in late 2017 said Bitcoin is dead, is never coming back. This doesn't make sense. It was all a bubble. And I was telling them, no, the technology is growing, people are adopting, there are new resources, and then DeFi kicked in, and then the pandemic raised the necessity for more e-commerce. And so we went all the way back into the rally, into the actual bubble, up to 60,000. But this will continue. So Bitcoin today is still recovering, and it will keep on growing because there is so many people yet to join the market.
I think that's one of the, how do I say, most important thing to understand. Like, just like you said,
And I'm sorry, I mean Bitcoin, a crypto overall, but mainly Bitcoin pushing the trend, right? So on-chain as well.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, like, no problem. I mean, I personally know that we're just getting started, but looking at it from my experiences, when I got into Bitcoin, when people were buying at $2,000, $3,000, and then it goes back to $1,000, they were crying. They were like, it's a scam. We got scammed because when you open your cryptocurrency wallet or the exchange account and see that your balance is, minus 10%, 20%, 30%. I can understand that psychologically it's not so easy to, how do I say, be okay with it. It's not so easy to understand the market fundamentals. But overall, if you are an educated person, or if you're willing to, learn more about the tips and tricks of, trading or investing in cryptocurrencies, what you should do is that observe the long trend. Because even Facebook, even Google, even Tesla, even like the largest, companies out there, even the petrol, even the electricity, natural gas, everything is losing value over time, but then, gaining it back. If you look at the Tesla stocks, you would see the same, minus 50%, minus.
Cycles.
Exactly, exactly. And what you have to do is like just look at the market from an objective point of view. Say that, okay, last month, let's say Bitcoin was there, and let's say there were like 10 exchanges, there were like 2 million users, and so on. But this month there are like 12 exchanges, so two more added. There are like, maybe 200,000 more people joined. They have opened their wallets. And then try to understand that those two other exchanges have opened because they realized that there is an opportunity in the market. They realized that, they could make money. They realized that this business is going to grow. That's why they have invested their money. I mean, people usually say, especially to us as well, when the OMC tokens price crashes, they're like, what is happening to the project? And I am just simply telling, look, you might have been invested maybe a few $1,000s, maybe a few $100s, but look at it from our perspective. Clearly, we're spending more time developing technical products. Clearly, we're spending more time with advisors and professionals in that field. And clearly, our time is valuable, just like your time and money is valuable. So look at the investment that we're making. Even me, myself, right now, even you yourself, right now. Like you're spending your 1 hour, like 90 minutes, 80 minutes right now here joining at Omchain Talks. You could be spending that time with your family. You could be spending that time, doing something else. But no, you realize that, it's an investment. It's both a, self investment as well as a financial investment, or investment in your career, investment in your business, or investment in your, how do I say, field, that you hope that in the future you'll be, getting rewarded. So from our perspective, we're saying that, look, I'm a programmer. Every day I'm sitting in front of my computer and developing things for the community. It's the only reason is that I believe that we're doing something valuable, and that's going to be, add value to people's lives, and that's going to be rewarded for me.
And the goal was never to be the best, well-performing asset. It was always to reach more people with a great technology, right?
Yeah, 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 exactly. And when you look at it that perspective, you realize that crypto market is going to be there for a long time. I mean, from technological standpoint, just like you said, there is backing dollar, there's nothing backing euro. Only you could maybe say military power. I don't want to go into politics too much. But aside from that, what we have as the common thing in the world is gold. But
You know that Antonopoulos says that fiduciary money is a collective hallucination,
exactly.
and I pretty much enjoy
Yeah,
this.
I mean, like exactly. If you think about it, what's backing dollars? It's just some bank over there, some reserve that's printing money, and then there's nothing
Trust,
behind it. But like if you
just trust,
but if
right?
you look at the trust, what is that trust backed? It's like, let's say I'm trusting my girlfriend because there is a human being that I can evaluate. But you're trusting dollar that you hope that the system's gonna be there forever. But if you look at the history, like
Oh yes, technically we are the system, right? So I'm trusting that the person receiving this money will keep on using it, right? So that I don't lose the value of whatever I own in my bank account. So that's the trust I was talking.
yeah,
But
yeah,
sure,
yeah. I understand that, but then again, what I'm saying is, if you look at the history, I think right now in the world, the oldest country is like 200, 300 years old, and you look at the history, and you realize that often countries have the lifespan of 30 years to 100 or 150 years. I am, looking at different countries in the world. I am like, okay, this country was established after World War I, or this one is after World War II. So I am like, if in the history the countries have collapsed, it's much likely that our countries as well are going to be collapsing in future. Maybe next year, maybe 100 years later. We cannot know that. So it's just something that right now we are collaboratively trusting. But when I look at Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, I am just seeing the digital representation of the gold that we have. Yes, it's again built on trust, but then again there is no central authority. There is no third that's controlling anything. It's just the collaborative trust any individual in the world that holds or runs the Bitcoin node.
that's totally right.
All right, so sorry that I might have gone into too many politics when we were talking about marketing, but basically, that's what happens at Omchain Talks. That's why we're like, it's nice and relaxed where we can, talk about anything. So please go on if you would like to add any other things related to crypto marketing. Sorry that I talked too much.
No, that was actually perfect and quite insightful that we could share different opinions and but most of our opinions were pretty much the same towards technology, evolution, and things like this. I would just like to add that it would be very nice that people who understand the technology, the situation, whatever thing it is, to understand that this person tries to pass on his understandings. This comes back to the whole educational principle. If everyone is has a good enough education to understand what they're doing, where they're getting into, then I'm sure that the world will be always a better place. If I'm down to the street and Osman says, "Hey, Thales, that thing is useful because it does this and that, so you should, try to understand it or maybe even use it in a day or two." I would get into it and I would start learning instead of hate speech like, "Oh, don't get into this. It's a scam because I lost money," or try to be always helpful to other people.
Yep, exactly. So I think I am seeing that we had already passed an hour. I mean, like I have time. If listeners are not bored, if you're into it, go into different topics, more details. I don't know about your availability, but if there is anything else you would like to add, please, go on. There is nothing limiting us, I think, because I am already seeing that we have the listeners since the beginning, and more or less no one had left. So I think it must be a good space. I think. I mean, like from my point of view, I learned a lot of things from you. Thank you, man. Really, thank you.
No problem, man. And I really enjoy having these conversations. To be honest, I didn't prepare anything beyond this. It actually grew much past what I have talked about. But Well, just reinforcing the same basics. Look at your audience, understand where people are going. Usually, you can't, not usually, but most of the times, you will not have the same effect, the same efficiency of a generic post for whatever the audience is versus a tailored one for specific niches. I think that nowadays, with the remote jobs and accessibility, global accessibility to other companies, these marketing companies, usually, uh, some of them are forgetting to tell the story. They're just building, they're just developing generic advertisements, and so this is why the engagement isn't that good. And it also has to come together with whatever work you're doing. As Osman said early on this talk, we have the influencers. Yes, sure, you have to go after influencers. You have to work with them. You have, at least here in Brazil, you have to have a nice relationship with them, because guess what? If you don't have a good relationship, everything can fall apart. It doesn't matter if I did a great marketing campaign and got thousands of new customers if I hired the best, the biggest crypto influencer in Brazil, and I had a terrible experience with him, and we fought, and some scandal happened. You can be sure that I will lose plenty of customers because of this incident or this arguing with that one person. So everything needs to come together. We are one community, and we need to take care of each other and try to help everyone. Uh, Also, here, the Brazilian community, I think the whole Latin community as a whole, but I can only speak for my country, we do not like um, advertisements like, oh, do this and win up to $1,000. And then we go there, we do it, and we earn like 1 cent,
I
okay,
mean,
or 10 cents.
yeah, to give the right of the advertiser, they didn't say that you can win $1,000. They said that you could win up to $1,000. So it's, I mean,
It's
but
it's it's the up to clickbait. That's deceiving.
yeah,
That's against what I was saying, right?
yes, 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 and that's usually what's with the prices as well. It's like it's not $20, it's 19.99. So that you see a lot of nines, and you're like trying to do the math, and you're like, okay, it's $19. So you have the false illusion of
Hmm.
5% discount automatically in people's minds, and the same goes for the things that says up to. And then once you're charged from your credit card, even for the products that you're buying, you realize, wait a minute, why am I charged this much? And then you realize, it's not something that you wanted, or it's not something that you thought. So I think that at that moment immediately destroy the image of that product, that you painted in the customer's mind, and what you're delivering. And once that connection is lost, once that image is destroyed, shattered, then you lose the customer for the long run.
Yeah, no joke, Osman. I had plenty. I had like 4 or 5 meetings with one specific company that was developing their business here, and they were doing advertisement like this. And I was trying to explain to them what was wrong with the up to something and getting something far from the maximum. And they were like, no, but Talis, we did pay like 1,000, I don't know, it wasn't 1,000, but we did pay $50 to specific users. And I said, okay, great, that's beautiful. So you're not lying. But most people got a few cents. So, oh, but the average would be $2 per user. Okay, great. The next time you say win $2 when doing this. Okay, and you give $2, not less, not more. So people understand. You have transparency. You're clear about your intentions. I know that clickbaiting titles look amazing and can go really well, but in this community, in the Brazilian community, people will feel deceived, and you're going to lose customers because of a promotion. Of course, it's something that you are giving away. You didn't need to be giving away. It's a prize, right? It's a prize that is making users dissatisfied. So that's bad. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, yeah, I think I can more or less feel the same in Turkey as well, because what you're communicating, if it's something different than what people were expecting, I'm not saying, you might even be like, how do I say, 100% clear with the advertisement. You might even be saying earn $2, But then if you add a lot of conditions and be like, but you had to, register through this link, or you had to, did that thing, or you had to,
The
refer 10
tiny letters.
people. Yeah, exactly. And then people be like, "You told me I could receive $2. That's the reason why I came here. Let me get my $2 first, and then maybe evaluate your product." And then it goes bad for the product as well as the customer experience. So I think what when you're doing marketing, the best thing is to be honest with your audience and tell them, I mean, like, do not tell them lies. Instead, show them, the truths that they didn't know, truths that, they didn't think that it existed. Do not try to, tell them that, once you purchase that shampoo, your hairs are going to be shining, after shower. Just tell them that, other shampoos have blah, 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 this much chemicals, but yours is 100% organic or natural, and natural shampoos provide, a different kind of shining in your hair. So then when they buy and see the difference, you didn't build up too much expectations, too high expectations. And once they actually see that, that shampoo feels different, then you have a, solid customer. I think that's my understanding from marketing.
Precisely, and the customers which had a nice marketing trip with the shampoo you're saying, they will recommend. So these people will become the organic marketing, and this is very useful and very strong when you have users backing your product. That's what every company wants, right?
Yep, yep, yep. All right. I
So
think, yeah, go on, please.
no, no, I was just going to add that it was pretty much this topic, these issues that I wanted to cover. So if you have any other question, please shoot. Otherwise, I try to share the best knowledge that I could with raising companies and marketing process for companies.
No, I mean, like, I had a lot of questions when we were first started, but I had more answers than I was hoping. So this is clearly, a nice advertisement of you, because like I was expecting something, but was not expecting this much. So thanks a lot for teaching me, as well as probably to most of the other listeners here about the crypto marketing. Thanks a lot for being our guest today. For those listeners who haven't followed the Biconomy Exchanges account, as I have learned from my master right now, Biconomy is the leading Canadian exchange that you can trade a lot of different cryptocurrencies, as well as Omchain. Omchain is trading at OMC USDT pair. So if you want to exchange your USDT, your stable currency, for Omchain tokens, you can go through Biconomy Exchange's Twitter account. Give them a follow if you're not following, even if you're not gonna be trading. Just give them a follow, and then register through the link on their profile, and then feel free to trade on the Biconomy platform. Enjoy the low fees, as well as easy to use UI. So thanks a lot to everyone who have been listening this space. I think overall we learned a lot of things about the marketing processes in exchanges. But overall, aside from the exchange perspective, we talked a lot about general marketing stuff. So thank you, Thales, for joining us today. I hope that I was pronouncing your name correctly. So how do you pronounce your
Well, it's very close. Thank you. It's Thales. Here in Brazil, it's
Thales?
Thales, but yes.
Thales.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Perfect. And oh, just a quick reminder, legal reminder, disclaimer that this buying OMC is not a financial
Yeah.
advice, right? But
Yeah.
we very much enjoy this project and this currency. So if you'd like to support, you can do so through Biconomy. We
Yeah.
also have futures in Biconomy. We have Launchpad, which can use as pre-listing boost for tokens that are willing to join the market, and well, plenty more like staking and much more, which I invite you all to meet the Economic Exchange. Thank you, Osman, and I wish you can have another time.
All right, thanks a lot. I mean, like, again, as Dallas mentioned, it's not a financial advice. So buy home chain, do not buy home chain. It's totally up to you. I mean, if you're looking for the next big thing in crypto, just like I said that I shouldn't be mentioning those things. So jokes aside, if you're looking for a layer one solution that is scalable, that is cheap, and that is blazingly fast, you can try our mainnet if you wish. So you could go to the Biconomy exchange if you wish to purchase OMC. Not a financial advice, but I highly encourage you to follow both Biconomy's and Omchain's Twitter accounts for more of those Omchain talks. Again, thanks a lot, Teles, for joining us. Thanks a lot for the Biconomy Exchange for being with us today again. And I think that's the end of the spaces. See ya. Take care.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye.